You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 7th of December. Jaishankar clarifies India's response to charges by US and Canada. Prominent Pashtun activist critical of Pak army sent to 7-day police remand. And Sri Lanka arrests 21 Indian fishermen, total count reaches 195 mark. And now for all the details. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Thursday said there was no question of equitable treatment of the US and Canada in relation to the allegations that Indian officials were involved in targeting of Khalistani separatists in the two countries, as Washington had provided inputs and Ottawa has not. Jaishankar, in a reply during question hour in the Parliament, said that inquiry committee has been set up over the US charges. On the other hand, Canada is yet to provide any evidence since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made the charges in September of India's involvement in the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India has repeatedly called the charges absurd and the issue has sought bilateral ties.
Because it has a bearing on our own national security, it was decided to institute an inquiry into the matter, and an inquiry committee has been constituted. Insofar as Canada is concerned, no specific evidence or inputs were provided to us. So the question of equitable treatment to two countries who have, one of whom has provided inputs and one of whom has not, does not arise.
Speaking highly on bilateral ties, US Ambassador to India Eric Garcetti on Wednesday linked the relations between Washington and New Delhi was ever-changing for the better and growing broader and deeper rapidly. Garcetti, during the Global Tech Summit in Delhi, drew parallels with modern dating lingo as he said India and America are dating each other now. He also affirmed that there is a positive romantic ambiguity between both the countries.
India loves what I call geometric diplomacy, triangles, quadrilaterals, because the multilateral space hasn't been so friendly always to India, even though it's led that sometimes. But when it got too big, India gets lost. And the bilateral comes with too many conditions. The US and India, I think, are a force for good in the world together, not just for our countries.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Christopher A. Wray is expected to visit India next week to take up key issues including Khalistan terrorism and gangster nexus and Pakistan-sponsored terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. The visit comes as US has indicted an Indian national of being accused in failed assassination attempt of Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Moving on, prominent Pashtun activist Manzoor Pashteen was sent to 7-day police remand on Thursday over allegations that his guard opened fire on police vehicles. This came after there was hue and cry over his whereabouts following his arrest on Monday.
An anti-terrorism court in Islamabad on Thursday sent Pashtun Tahaffuz movement leader Manzoor Pashteen to a 7-day police remand. The development came after several rights groups and member of National Assembly Mohsin Dawar accused the state for law violations as Pashteen's whereabouts were unknown following his arrest on Monday. Pashtun had been arrested in Balochistan after his security guards allegedly clashed with the police and opened fire, a charge PTM has denied. PTM, a social movement, is known for its criticism of the Pakistan army for alleged enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings in Pashtun-dominated tribal areas. Pashtuns have long blamed that they have been targets of military operations, ethnic stereotyping and abductions by the Pakistani security forces.
And as the pollution crisis worsens in Pakistan, hospitals in Lahore are filled up with sick children due to respiratory issues exacerbated by poor air quality. A report.
Toxic smog has been choking residents in Pakistan's Lahore for weeks as there has been no change in air quality index. In the packed pediatric emergency room, parents can be seen holding nebulizing devices to their children's noses, engulfing their faces in a billow of steam, delivering medication to ease their congested airways. Health officials estimate there has been at least a 50% rise in pediatric patients due to respiratory issues exacerbated by poor air quality in the last 1 month.
इसके बारे में काफ़ी फिक्रमंद है बच्चों को तो है, बड़ों को भी इसके साथ साथ हो रहा है ये इन्फेक्शन, तो जिसकी वजह से ये हॉस्पिटल में आना पड़ा है हमें मजबूरन.
Our pediatric hospitals, they are overwhelmed with burden from the respiratory issues. In any case, the most common cause of infant mortality, obviously we are struggling to meet sustainable development goals here. The neonatal mortality is mainly driven from gastrointestinal disease and then respiratory disease.
The city of 11 million, considered the cultural capital of Pakistan, has been blanketed in thick haze that partially blocks the sun and shrouds streets with fog at night. The problem becomes more severe in cooler months as temperature inversion prevents a layer of warm air from rising and traps pollutants closer to the ground.
Days after China became the first nation to accept Taliban-appointed ambassador, it has urged Kabul to adopt moderate and prudent domestic and foreign policies to integrate itself into the world community. Addressing media queries over Afghanistan, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said, as a friendly behavior, China believes that Afghanistan should not be excluded from the international community. We believe that diplomatic recognition of the Afghanistan government will come naturally as the concerns of the various parties are effectively addressed, he added. Despite the campaign by Taliban to recognize its rule on Afghanistan, so far no country has officially recognized the regime over its rights violations. At least 21 Indian fishermen were arrested on Wednesday by Sri Lankan Navy, which alleged they were poaching in Sri Lankan waters. The Navy in a statement said the fishermen were apprehended in northeastern waters of Mannar and that they will be handed over to Jaffna fisheries inspectors for legal action. So far in 2023, the Lankan Navy has apprehended 195 Indian fishermen under the allegations of poaching. India and Sri Lanka share an expensive oceanic border without any perceptible demarcation. Fishermen from both the countries frequently stray into each other's territory while netting their catch and end up spending years in jail. In yet another heartening tale of cross-border romance, Javeria Khanum, a Pakistani national, legally crossed over to India this week to unite with her fiancé Sameer Khan, a resident of Kolkata. The couple shared how they dealt with the consequences of being cross-border lovers from nations which considered arch rivals. Bride-to-be Khanum shared she has been granted a 45-day visa after 2 previous visa rejections and how the COVID pandemic had stalled their plans. The lovebirds will exchange marital vows on 6th of January.
2018 में मैंने इनकी फ़ोटो अपनी मम्मी की फ़ोन में देखी थी. वो फ़ोटो मुझे पसंद आई. लव एट फर्स्ट साइट आप बोलो या फिर लक बोलो, किस्मत में लिखा हुआ था. तो मैंने मम्मी को बोला था कि इनसे रिश्ता लगाने के लिए. मेरी मम्मी ने इनकी मम्मी से बात की थी रिश्ते की, और हम लोग का रिश्ता 2020 में हुआ था जब हम लोग फर्स्ट टाइम थाईलैंड में मिले थे दोनों फैमिली, और फिर जाके अब 2023 में हम लोग की शादी होने जा रही है.
शुरू में तो बड़ों ने हम लोग का रिश्ता तय कर दिया था. फिर हम लोग की पहली मुलाकात हुई थी थाईलैंड में. हम लोग की दोनों फैमिलीज मिली थी. मैं कभी मिली नहीं थी इन लोगों से, तो वो हमारी पहली मुलाकात थी. तो उसके बाद से 5 साल से हम लोग साथ हैं और बस पेशेंट रहे हैं. पूरे 5 साल एक दूसरे के लिए वेट किया है. जो भी इश्यूज थे पता तो था उन सब का कि बहुत बहुत खूबसूरत. मैं बॉर्डर से जो मेरी एंट्री हुई है उसके बाद से जो मुझे प्यार मिल रहा है, जो इवन लोग नहीं जानते मुझे, वो भी मुझे इतना प्यार शो कर रहे हैं कि मैं बता नहीं सकती.
That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.